Late one stormy night, Lily sat alone in her dimly lit apartment. The rain lashed against the windows, and the occasional rumble of thunder echoed through the empty streets outside. She was reviewing a stack of old photographs she had inherited from her late grandmother, hoping to find some nostalgic comfort. Among the photographs, she found an ornate antique mirror wrapped in cloth. The note attached to it read, "Do not uncover unless you must." Curiosity overtook her, and with trembling hands, she unwrapped the mirror. Its frame was adorned with intricate carvings of twisted vines and faces contorted in silent screams. The glass was cloudy and dark, yet it seemed to draw her in. As Lily gazed into the mirror, her reflection was not quite right. Her mirrored self blinked a fraction of a second slower, and the corners of its mouth twitched unnaturally. A chill ran down her spine, but she couldn't look away. Then, the reflection smiled, a smile she did not make. Her reflection's lips moved, but no sound came out. Finally, a faint whisper filled the room. "Let me out." Terrified, Lily stumbled backward, knocking over a lamp. The room plunged into darkness, save for the faint glow emanating from the mirror. When she turned back to it, her reflection was gone. In its place stood a shadowy figure, its eyes gleaming with a cold, malevolent light. The whisper grew louder, repeating, "Let me out. Let me out." Lily's heart pounded as she tried to cover the mirror with the cloth, but the shadowy figure's hand reached out, pressing against the glass, as though it were a barrier. Desperate, Lily grabbed the mirror and hurled it to the ground. It shattered into countless shards, and the shadowy figure let out an ear-piercing scream that seemed to shake the very walls. The room fell silent. Breathing heavily, Lily turned on the lights and looked at the shards scattered across the floor. Each fragment reflected a different part of her apartment, but none showed her reflection. She thought it was over until she noticed one shard still glowing faintly. Picking it up, she saw her reflection trapped inside, pounding against the glass and mouthing the words, "Let me out." Lily's scream echoed into the night as the shard slipped from her hand and shattered into dust, leaving her apartment eerily quiet once more. But in every reflective surface around her, a faint whisper now echoed, "Let me out." Days passed, but Lily found no escape from the haunting whispers. Every mirror, window, or polished surface bore faint impressions of her reflection, each more distorted and tormented than the last. Her friends grew concerned as she withdrew further, refusing to meet their eyes or venture outside. The shadows under her eyes deepened, and her voice grew hoarse from sleepless nights spent pleading with the whispers to stop. One evening, driven to desperation, she sought out an antique dealer in town who specialized in cursed artifacts. The dealer, a gaunt man with eyes like black pits, listened intently as she recounted her tale. When she finished, he handed her an aged book bound in cracked leather. "This may help," he said, "but the cost of breaking a curse is never small." Lily spent the next night poring over the book, deciphering its cryptic instructions. By the time the sun rose, she had gathered the required items: black candles, a silver dagger, and a vial of her own blood. The ritual demanded she confront the entity directly and offer a piece of herself in exchange for her freedom. As the clock struck midnight, she began the ritual. The air grew heavy, and the shadows in her apartment seemed to come alive. The mirrors and reflective surfaces around her shimmered and pulsed, their whispers growing into a cacophony of voices. At the final incantation, the largest mirror in her living room began to ripple like water, and the shadowy figure emerged once more. Its voice was no longer a whisper, but a guttural growl. "You dare to bind me!" it thundered, its form twisting and expanding. Lily stood her ground, raising the silver dagger and slicing her palm. Her blood dripped onto the mirror, causing the figure to recoil with a screech. The room erupted in a blinding light, and when it faded, the mirrors were empty. The oppressive presence was gone, and for the first time in days, silence reigned. But as Lily tended to her wound, she noticed something chilling. In the faint reflection of her blood-streaked hand on the dagger's blade, a pair of cold, gleaming eyes watched her. The whispers had ceased, but the feeling of being watched lingered, a constant reminder that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed.